Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here with Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness, and today I want to chat with you guys and gals about why fruit sugars are not really a problem. But a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, it'd be greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed or following, please do so, and if you'll be kind enough to drop me a comment down below, I would appreciate it so much. All right, so when we start thinking in terms of energy sources, we have to make one thing clear in this conversation, or two things clear. Number one, obviously refined fructose, refined sugars can be problematic. They absolutely cause metabolic problems, health problems, negatively impact the liver, other stuff. Like we understand this. The problem is people don't understand the why. Okay, they don't understand the why, and they get caught up sometimes into strange anti-carbohydrate dogma or anti-glucose dogma. And we need to be clear, every biologist knows this, every medical doctor knows this. The human body generally runs on glucose. In fact, when we make that point, people will argue, well, no, it tries to get that. The keto people will make extreme points arguing against it, but the fact of the matter is, not only is it the preferential fuel source, most of the longest lived societies on earth eat primarily starchy carbohydrates. It's their largest calorie source, longest lived, lowest rates of cancer. Number two, with that, you have to also understand you have cells in your body that cannot burn ketones and fat as a primary fuel. Okay, important things like your brain. Your brain cannot function on ketones. It can use it, part of it, and it goes through an adaptation process. It will be really foggy while it adapts, right? But it still needs, even when a brain has been adapted to doing it, your brain itself still has to have 70, 80, 100 grams of carbs minimum, and I think it may be more. This is an argument for people who are keto adapted. It still has to have that much glucose or it dies. And if it goes more than a few seconds without glucose, you actually black out. You go unconscious. So we need to be clear, like glucose is life. And our body thrives on it. The only time we start running into problems with glucose is when we have metabolic dysfunction because we've made ourselves unhealthy. And we didn't get unhealthy because of glucose in our bloodstream. We need to be clear on that, right? We need to understand this. It was not glucose itself that created the problem. So we thrive on it. We thrive on it. And I'm not saying fats and healthy fats can't have their place. I promote eating those things in many situations. But again, when we understand, we have to understand this point to understand the point about fruit. Okay. So what is our concern with refined sugars? Like, why do we talk about sugar? It's not because it's sugar. Okay. People get the medical and biological term sugar confused with layman's term sugar, table sugar. That would be sucrose, right? They get them mixed up. So why are we concerned with it? It's because of the fructose content. Like sucrose, aka table sugar, is 50% fructose by calorie. High fructose corn syrup is like 54, 55. For all practical purposes, there's no difference. We've seen that demonstrated in the lab. Your body can't tell them apart. They're both bad. Let's leave it that way, right? They're both bad. Now, people want to argue that nuanced point. Let's set that to the side and say, let's just agree they're both bad, right? Then everyone's in agreement. Okay, they'll accept that. So let's assume they're both bad. Why? What's the fructose reaching the liver? Unlike other stuff, most of the cells in your body can't really burn fructose. It's not a fuel source for them. Your liver and stuff can. There are some cells that can. Most of your cells can't. It's kind of poisonous, mildly, similar to alcohol, the way your liver processes it, which is exactly the problem. So your liver processes fructose very similar to how it does alcohol. Fructose being like a different shape of sugar from glucose. It's a different molecule. It's very, very similar. It's an almost identical. Just like one of the little bonds spun a little the opposite direction. Okay, makes all the world like a minor. Believe me, a minor bond or something like that is night and day. It's a big deal. That's why we're having this entire conversation about sugars, because of that difference. All right, impacts your liver. Your liver has to process it. Your liver can handle a small amount. Let's be clear. Your liver can actually handle a little bit of fructose every day, right? You can handle a little bit. like 20, 30 grams, it actually does okay. It'd be like, yeah, I can handle that. Especially if it's spaced out, no big deal. Like our liver is very robust. It's a reason we're alive. Like it protects it. We can handle a certain amount of arsenic, a certain amount of different things, right? Your liver will handle a small amount and it will be okay. It's a very resilient organ. It's when it gets overloaded with too many things. But you see what happens? What happens when we start overloading it with a bunch of stuff? What happens when we have all these environmental toxins and stuff already putting a load on it? Then we start throwing that fructose at it. Oh man, this is a recipe for disaster. You can only handle so much stuff. Right? So what happens? Fatty liver. What else? Insulin resistance. Okay, so we were talking this whole thing with glucose. Well, insulin resistance is the problem. Right? Fructose is one of the things that can cause it in excess. Keep in mind, it's only in excess. Right? Even when I talk about saturated fat, we're talking about in excess. We're not talking about all saturated fat. Like you're not going to die because you ate a steak. Okay, let's be clear, right? That's the point I'm making. It's excess. Okay, handle a lot of things in moderation. Well, so why fruit is okay? Because our body has different pathways to deal with it. So generally, what happens is when we consume refined sugars, sucrose, high fructose corn syrup, your stomach acids break them down. They are no longer table sugar or high fructose corn syrup by the time they empty your stomach. It has completely dissolved them into glucose and fructose, just floating around. Well, when that reaches your upper intestine, that fructose is absorbed immediately, right? It's absorbed immediately because it's just free to soak through. It can fit right through that membrane, hit your bloodstream. Now, we have enzymes, right? We have an enzyme that will convert some of that fructose. It will cleave it over and turn it into glucose, which is great. We want glucose. Glucose is what we want. Our body makes glucose out of anything it can. It'll make it out of protein. It'll make it out of the glycerol backing on fat if it has no other option. It'll try to make glucose. Our body wants and craves glucose. It's what it loves. It loves it. It wants it. It will make it out of other stuff. Well, it can make it out of fructose to a certain extent. But you notice you can't turn all fat or all protein into glucose. It's like you can't turn all fructose through that pathway. Whatever it can't handle reaches the liver. Now, keep in mind, we can produce so much of this enzyme per minute and per hour. When it runs out, it reaches the liver, right? When the load, well, it's absorbed really, really, really fast in the upper intestine. So that load is reached, that limit is reached much faster than if it's slower digesting. This is a big deal. That rate of absorption is important for those enzymic pathways. All right, see the difference? Well, what happens with fruit? Well, fruit is a matrix of a whole food. Notice I didn't say fruit juice, I said fruit. It's got fiber, it's got pulp, it's got this whole matrix. It doesn't all get absorbed. Very little of it gets absorbed in the upper intestine. Your body's still breaking it down, it's digesting it. Well, guess what? You know, we talked about fructose up there, but you know, your gut flora likes fructose a lot. Like your healthy bacteria loves fructose. It will take it, it will ferment it and turn it into glucose, and it will eat some of it. Like, so getting fuel for the process, it will release glucose. Again, notice good bacteria, healthy bacteria, takes something bad and turns it into something good and uses what it wants. This is the stuff that our gut says, hey, we want more of this, let's try to keep producing. So healthy gut flora will tend to do that. So fruit, most of it reaches the lower intestine to where it feeds our healthy bacteria, and then it will ferment and release it into some of it into glucose, into the bloodstream. Then we can get that glucose we want instead of the fructose. Okay? A little bit of fructose will still be left. A little fructose will reach the bloodstream, but usually that enzyme will handle it pretty well. Right? It's very difficult to eat enough fruit for these two pathways to not resolve it. Not saying it's impossible. Hypothetically, you could do it, but it's not practical, right? You really have to put the effort in. It could be done, but you'd have to really, really try hard. And not everyone would be able to pull it off. So generally what we're looking at with fruit is that the fructose, so little of it reaches the bloodstream, and very, very little, if any, will actually reach the liver. And generally it's going to be enough the liver can easily handle. So fruit is just healthy, right? We fall back into just being a healthy food, gives us glucose, gives us antioxidants, all these other wonderful things, helps feed our gut flora. And that's the thing. It is technically a prebiotic food for your gut.